I'm going to take this opportunity, however, to suggest that we all hail Hiroki. Oh, that's all I'm saying.
Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls. I don't doubt it.
Y'all remember the tip your waitresses. Have a mighty fine night.
You come in peace, surrender or be destroyed. Here to make war, we surrender. Falsehood. Important thing is, I'm giving you peace.
When the appointed hour arrives, the Marauders will deactivate their cloaking devices and begin transporting Klingon shock troops directly to the landing zone.
Landing zone? Where? Tell me.
Why not? Your feeble weapons will be useless against us. We will kill all your males and take your females to mate with.
All right. Now the Federation's taking over, whether you like it or not. You people, you've been running this planet like a piecework factory. From now on, it's gonna be under one roof. You're gonna run it like a business. That means you're gonna make a profit.
Look, these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before or since. Tall words, proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi, I'm Nicole DeBoer. I played Lieutenant Ezri Dax on DS9, and I welcome you to Bird O' Prey 5 channel. Hail Karoga.
Hello world, it's Bird O' Prey 5, Qapla, and welcome to Deep Space Nine Wednesday for August 18th, 2021. Oh man, we are blowing through August like a hurricane blowing through Florida. Sorry, Floridians. But you live there. That's what happens. Anyway, we're up to season 5, episode 23. My God, just 2 more episodes, I believe, left in season 5 after this, including Empok Nor next week. So season 5, episode 23, Blaze of Glory, where former Starfleet Commander Eddington, Michael Eddington, and Sisko's foil, Sisko's Javier, whatever the fuck, the French guy from Les Mis, the one who steals the loaf of bread. I guess Javier is the inspector. I don't care. I hated Les Mis. The point is, he's Sisko's white whale. That's a much better analogy. He's Sisko's Moby Dick. That didn't come out so well. Michael Eddington, Sisko's nemesis from Deep Space Nine. His final performance in this episode, Blaze of Glory. Also the episode where Cadet Nog finally earns the respect of the Klingons. Very good episode this week. Another one, I'd say, easily top 50% of DS9 episodes. I don't know much beyond that. We'll rewatch it and sort it out, maybe. But that's where we are. John, of course, then we're only a couple episodes away from season 6. Arguably the best season of DS9 ever. Of all Trek ever. And of course, if you ask the salty Trekker, the last good season of DS9. But that's why we don't ask the salty Trekker. Because he has crazy ideas. Yeah. Yes, Mamo Prey. Mamo Prey needs to interrupt.
That's not the name of the restaurant.
Oh, it's not the name of the restaurant. That there is one. That's a different restaurant. Did you find the right restaurant?
We don't know.
Oh, okay. I will find you the name of the restaurant. Sorry, Mama Pray. Yeah, okay. I there were two restaurants, and I thought that was one, but it is not the name. Let's go to our order history. Sorry. It's called New Sushi Village. Not Wild Ginger. New Sushi Village. Mama Pray is making the dinner arrangements, and I accidentally gave her the name of the wrong Japanese restaurant. Josh Street says, hey, Bird of Prey, a little early today. Yes, and a big thanks to Cinnabon Bunny, who pointed out earlier today that I accidentally set the wrong time for the stream today. I forgot to set it at 4:05 p.m. and instead it was set at like 11:30 a.m. So thank you. And Josh Street was one of the first people to comment. Deej said I was late, which technically, considering it was supposed to be at 11:30, I was. And Josh Street also said I was late, to which I replied fixed. And of all the days for YouTube not to lose some early comments, today YouTube kept the early comments. John Aragi says you should play the one where Sisko and the feds have to hastily abandon the station to the Dominion. Seems relevant. Well, that would be. That's coming up soon. Not Ryan Johnson says, hello and Qapla. Hail Karoga. Although at least Sisko and the Federation had the foresight to sabotage everything before leaving. Not Ryan Johnson says, Karoga is going down in a blaze of glory. Sounds about right. Well, Karoga's not going down, but if we did go down, it would be in a blaze of glory. Richie Poole says second. Qapla, Richie Poole. Hector Accented says Glory and Karoga in the same sentence. Lol, what? Hector, it's okay. English is a tough language, but I'm sure you'll understand it. Hector says when Karoga goes down, it goes down in a blaze of burning fuel, explosion, smoke, and sons of a bitches. Josh Street says, remember, if you want the great Birdo Prey 5 to read your comments, use @BirdoPrey5. Okay, Bird. Is that okay? I can leave your basement now. That'll do, Josh Street. That'll do. And he says, if you want to watch along with Birdo Prey at the Bird Screening Room, watch the episode only while Birdo Prey is streaming at www.birdoprey5.com/SR. Yes, if you're new here, if you want to watch the episode only while I am live streaming, go to the address. It's also at the bottom of the video, birdoprey5.com/SR. Open it in a separate tab or a separate browser or on a mobile on a completely separate device, so you can leave your YouTube window open so you can hear the commentary and you can watch the actual video in a separate window or app or whatever. If you have your own copy on DVD, or you have Paramount Plus or Netflix or Amazon Prime Video or Hulu or some other streaming service, bring it up, cue it up now. It is Season 5, Episode 23, Blaze of Glory. Richie Poole says, so what do you think, Bird of Prey? Is there intelligent life out there somewhere? There is, Richie Poole. I'm sure of it. I cannot be the only intelligent life in the universe. Eastland Burkholder says, thanks to Josh. Richie Poole says, Dear Bob, can I mail order a girlfriend from another planet? I can't find one here on Earth. You know, Richie, I would caution against it. I just don't know how different the alien women might be. I suspect that Star Trek and Star Wars even have us imagining, aliens looking way too human, and having, parts that roughly line up with human parts, no matter how alien they are. And truly alien women, they might not really be compatible for Earthmen to love. Eastland Burkholder says, our emperor is benevolent and awesome skills wrapped up in a tall package. All hail the emperor who precedes Emperor Charlie. Indeed. And Richie, I would say that we'll have robot women sooner than alien women available for marriage. Actor says, Bird believes in extraterrestrial life. Bird, however, doubts any alien can outsmart him. Indeed, Hector. Those are both true statements. You have to wake up pretty early in the galaxy to outsmart old Bird of Prey 5. However, those damn kids on Call of Duty seem to do it all the fucking time. Every fucking time I play, some 12-year-old is out there outsmarting me. Eastland Burkholder says, Dear Bop, is there a magic spell or electric tool that will make the willfully ignorant act like a cognate human being who can and will do their jobs just at a low and minimal effort? We are working on such a tool, Eastland. It will be delivered via vape pen. So we'll get them easy, but it's coming. Actor says, a bride from another planet. I can't fathom the shipping and handling charges. Shipping is free, but handling quite expensive. Eastland says, Dear Bob, from Critter the Kitty, what is the best way to upgrade my human roommate for one better suited to handing out treats and anticipating my desires? Critter the Kitty. Critter, you're going to want to go down to your local Main Street and just strut around looking for older women in the upper 30s, 40s, 50s range. Those are generally best suited to having some disposable income and an affinity for having extra cats. That's where you look. Eastland says, and doing tasks, Critter the Kitty. Yes. But if you're already in that magic group, then you might already have the best model human you can find locally. Humans vary from place to place. Richie Poole says, well, I have to get back to work. I will be watching this later, so behave yourself, Brutal Bright. Damn it, now he tells me to behave myself. I hope you had a good day, Richie. Bradley Briggs says, Zup, y'all. Zup, Bradley, 47, Yorktown says, hello, young sir. Hello, 47. John Street says, so this episode, Nog gets the respect from the Klingons. Indeed, he does. He tries to get it a little earlier, but he does get it. John DeMarco says, greetings, everyone. Thomas Potts says, I love the smell of Karoga burning in the morning. No, that's California burning. You're smelling, Thomas. Dee Myers says, Bird of Prey, Qapla, how are you and the family? We're doing good, Dee. Thank you for asking. John DeMarco says, Klingons, you got to know how to handle them. Absolutely. That's what Nog says. Dee Myers says, John, that you do. Super Blubberpuss says, hello, guys. Qapla, Super Blubberpuss. Star Trek Nitpickers says, Qapla, Treksters. Qapla, Nitpickers. Hey, when do we get the season 2 of the New York? When does that start up again? I'm getting antsy. John Street says, you're very late, Bird of Prey. You said the stream was at 11:30 a.m. Then I fixed it. Actor says, what? TV shows used to have more than 10 episodes a season. I know. Can you believe it? John Street says, Bird of Prey, there are 26 episodes in DS9 Season 5. Okay, so then there's 3 more episodes. LDG of Geeks Enjoy gives a wave and says he loves this episode. D.D. Myers says, howdy to nitpickers. Mike Richards says, greetings. From Columbus, Ohio, greetings, Mike Richards. LDG says, who's Dick? What? DD says howdy, and DD says howdy to Mike Richards, and howdy to LDG. Actor says no spoilers. Mike Richards says hey to DD. Actor says best season. I should start paying attention then. Season 6. This is a damn good season. John DeMarco says Salty Trekker has some Batwoman crazy ideas. He absolutely does. Dee Dee says howdy to Hector and to Josh Street. Thomas says, Bird of Prey, how dare you stream somewhere on YouTube? Someone is having a birthday stream. Cinnabon, if you are here, I truly apologize. I did not know that I was going to be streaming over your stream Monday. I thought you were about ready to end your stream from the way you were sounding already. Had I known, I would have done Bed Life on your channel or something. I had no idea that you planned to stream for another hour or 2. I do appreciate you ending the stream, but I may feel terrible if I made you end, or you felt compelled to end a birthday stream. I really hope that was an exaggeration. D.D. Myers says howdy to Bradley and to Thomas. Thomas says hello to D.D. John DeMarco says, we're doing Dear Bops. No. Josh reads his Bird of Prey. Don't forget, Mom can only take so much of Quark in this episode. Morn can only take so much of Quark. And Josh reads his Bird of Prey. By the time you get to the end of the comments, it'll be your bedtime. Well, that was the end of the comments, and now I'm going to bed. So we'll watch this again tomorrow. Everybody come back at the same time. No, I'm kidding. Let's head over to the screening room where I will do my patented countdown. Nobody else is allowed to count down from 10 because I patented it. And yes, I was granted U.S. patent number 47291876624.35C. So if you count down from 5, you will be arrested. At least that's what they told me. I think I was at the patent office. It was either the patent office or a Chinese restaurant. Now that I think about it, there were a lot of wontons for the patent office. Anyway, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dun dun dun. We have started. Nog is saying squid is favorite human food. Delicious. Terrific as always, says Jake. Sisko says glad he likes it. And Nog says, if he may say so, the sauce tastes very familiar. And Sisko says it should. It's puree of tube grubs. And Jake spits out into his mouth. He's like, oh, tube grubs. And Sisko says, well, if Nog is willing to try human food, we should try Ferengi food. And he said, and plus, Jake said you loved it. And Jake's like, that's before he knew it was tube grubs. So then Sisko asks, how does he like working security? And Jake says that Nog doesn't like it. Nog is like, no, it's fine. And Jake is like, no, it's not. So he's like, well, I want to know what's wrong, Cadet. And he's like, oh, it's the Klingons, their attitude. They have bad attitude. They're loud, obnoxious, and if you may say so, generally intoxicated. They walk around like they own the place. And when station security tell them to keep the noise down, they ignore them. And Jake says, well, they ignore him, Nog. And he says they never look them in the eye when he tries to talk to them. They just stare over his head, and they pretend he's not even there. And Nog hates when they do that. And Sisko says he can see how that would be annoying. Sisko says the next time the Klingons refuse to acknowledge your presence, do what a Klingon would do. Confront them. If you stand up to them, you'll earn their respect. And Jake says, or get your butt kicked. And Sisko says, either way, they'll never ignore you again. And now Martok comes in. And Martok's like, I need to speak to you, Captain, alone. And Nog was about to confront Martok, but Sisko pulls him down and says, not now. And Jake pulls him out. So Martok says him and his crew were patrolling the Cardassian border. They received this message. It was a Maquis code. He said they thought the Maquis were wiped out by the Cardassians, and they were able to decode it. And it's Michael, a woman, saying, Michael, I hope you get this message. We've launched the missiles. They'll reach Cardassia in 13 days. It may not bring back the dead, but at least they'll have a lot of company. And it's like, did you detect any missiles? No. But that proves nothing, says Martok. The Klingons gave the Maquis cloaking devices. The Klingon High Council gave them cloaks. Josh reads his bird of prey, so next week we get DS9 Thursday as your birthday gift to me. Is it your birthday on Thursday, Josh Street? How old are you going to be? So the Maquis had access to tri-cobalt devices, antimatter warheads, the death toll, biogenic weapons. The death toll could be in the millions. If millions are killed by human terrorists, they'll demand revenge, and the Dominion allies will see they get it. They'll launch a counterstrike against the Federation, the Klingons, and the entire Alpha Quadrant, and start a war that could destroy us all, says Sisko. They're afraid for the war. They're afraid about a war. They could start a war. The war hasn't happened yet. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Dun, 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 dun. Dun da da da. Dun dun da da. Dun da dun da da. Dun 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 da. Dun da da da. Dun dun da da da. Dun dun da da. Welcome, Random Menace. Greetings from the future. And Milton, the Knowles, the Insane Witch King, says this is my favorite way to watch Star Wars. Josh Street, is it really your birthday next Thursday? So, Worf and Dax come up to Ops. They were looking for the Badlands. They would spend 50 hours. They were avoiding Jem'Hadar patrols. They were homing in on their plasma wake. They were able to track them, even when cloaked. The Defiance warp engines are too powerful. They liquidize the plasma, and you can make the leaves rustle as you move through the forest. They're only 11 days from their target. He needs to find the missiles. Worf says we need more info. We need to narrow the search. Sisko knows someone who can help. And we're back at the old style space station. It's Eddington. Michael Eddington. Really? This is where they hold him? He says he's dreaming. This is a nightmare. He was wondering when Sisko would show up. He expected to see him weeks ago. He's busy. He's like, oh, well, enjoy yourself. He knows you've been wanting to gloat over his defeat. And Sisko says, I'm not here to gloat. He's like, you deserve to. You won. Josh Reed says, yes, Bird of Prey, I'm going to be another inch into the ground next Thursday. Josh Street, if you want DS9 Thursday for your birthday, you let me know now, and I am prepared to do DS9 Wednesday and then DS9 Thursday next week for your birthday. So he shows that he sees the message. He doesn't want to listen to it. He says, it has nothing to do with me. He says, Michael's a very common name. And he says, true, but he thinks you're somehow the right one. He's like, guess again. And he's not giving him any satisfaction. Super Blubberpuss says, I give you guys credit. When it's my birthday, I never tell anyone. He says, if those missiles hit Cardassia, millions will be killed. And Eddington says, if you expect me to shed a tear, you'll be very disappointed. He used his tears when the Dominion slaughtered the Maquis. He heard it for days. 3 days. Everyone and everything you loved was wiped out. Sisko says he heard the same reports. He's like, you don't give a damn what happened to us, and I don't give a damn what happens to you. John DeMarco says the message was meant for Michael Burnham. They can solve any she can solve any problem. He says, what you and want don't matter. You and I want don't matter. Nothing you do can stop them. They're cloaked, highly maneuverable, programmed to change course at random. You'll never find them. He says, maybe we can't locate them. It doesn't mean we can't stop them. He says, you must have programmed in an abort code, some way to disable them by remote. Josh Street says, Bird of Prey, no, I don't want you to take away from Thomas shooting you in Call of Duty. Oh, okay, Josh Street, it was your call. So Eddington says the only way to transmit it is from the launch site, And he's not going to find that either. So it seems like everybody's out of luck. He's like, so that's it? You're just going to lie there and do nothing. He's like, that's what you do in prison. Nothing. You just sit back and wait for the next counseling session. The next psychological evaluation. He's like, what if I can get you out of there? Arrange a pardon in exchange for you helping me. And Eddington's like, oh, you like this. You like deciding the fate of others. He's like, it's not about me. Do you want your freedom or not? He's like, where would I go if they did release me? What would I do? It's like, anything I want. What about bringing the Maquis back from the dead? Can I do that? Can you? Can anyone? No. I didn't think so. In that case, he'll tell you what he wants. He wants to lie here to the Jem'Hadar, blow this place to pieces. And me along with it. Wow, I believe him. Almost. I almost believe him. Ah, Quark is saying it hurts. What's Bashir doing? Bashir hasn't done anything yet. And Odo says, you'll survive. Major Kira caught him. She didn't want to do anything. She was in the shrine meditating. He burst in stark naked, crying out to the prophets, begging for forgiveness. So he's like, why would, of all people, mourn? And he's like, what would make him go on edge? So they hit him with the bar stool. They're like, why would they hit you? Witnesses says you were talking to him right up to the second he went berserk. He says he talks. That's what bartenders are supposed to do. Talk to their customers. What were you talking to him about? All he said was that the military personnel on the station were starting to look a little nervous. And when they get nervous, he gets nervous. And he said, that's all you said, says Odo? He said, basically. So maybe did a little harmless theorizing. About what? It was only a matter of time before Dominion launched a full-scale assault against the Federation, and the station would undoubtedly be the first target. And they're all looking at he might have suggested that there wasn't a chance in hell anyone would get out there alive. And that's when Morn hit him with the bar stool and ran off into the promenade, yelling, we're all doomed. And Quark says some people just don't react well to stress. And now there's a incoming message from Sisko saying he's probably telling us that the first wave of warships is coming. And Quark's like, she's joking, right? So Sisko's going to go into the promenade, into the Badlands to try and find the missiles. And he's not alone. He's got Eddington with him. Him and Eddington are in a runabout. He's like, no, don't send the Defiant. It'll attract too much attention. Yeah, stop Morn. He's so excitable, says John DeMarco. So Eddington's like, what about these handcuffs? It's a little difficult to eat. He says, you'll manage. Replicator entree 103. Curry rice with a side of carrots. At least that's what they want you to believe. You and I both know what we're really eating. Resequenced protein molecules and textured carbohydrates. It's shit. They're eating shit. And he says it may look like chicken, but it still tastes like replicated protein molecules to him. He says, do you remember that Thanksgiving dinner you cooked for the staff? Every ingredient fresh, real. though you put too much tarragon in the stuffing. Sisko said, I wasn't aware you were a food critic. He wasn't until he joined the Maquis and ate real food. Food he grew with his own hands. Fresh corn and tomatoes. Do you know how hard it is to grow tomatoes? It's easy. It's either too much rain or too hot or too cold. Funny, it's kind of easy to grow tomatoes around here. He wonders what happened to those tomato plants. They probably burned to the ground. So Eddington is putting his food back in the replicator. Really? Here we are having a pleasant conversation about food, and all you're thinking about is the mission, how to get him to cooperate. Eddington's like, as far as I'm concerned, my life is over. He's like, I'm dead. And Sisko says, for a dead man, you talk a lot. He says, and why didn't you leave me in prison? Sisko says, because he has a job to do. He can't do it without him. And Eddington says, I told you when you dragged me out of my cell, I wasn't going to help you. Sisko's trying to prevent a war. He's like, no, you set the ground rules. You made it personal. You could have looked the other way. You could have left the Maquis alone. You hunted us. Pounded us. Fought us every chance you get, and then you set us up for the slaughter. You expected better. So did a lot of people. People like Cal. There's the two of them were friends at the academy till he joined the Maquis. He betrayed his oath. If it makes you feel any better, he paid for his sins. He was killed in a skirmish with Cardassians. Thomas, as Bird of Prey, Salty is reporting Deej is in the hospital with chest pains. Oh no. Deej was on earlier this morning. He seemed fine. Okay. Prayers for Deej, people. If you pray or you send good vibes or happy thoughts, let's all take a second and do that for our friend Deej. He's been in the hospital with chest pains before. I mean, it happens, but we do hope he's okay. What you just watched, did he put out a video? I'm thinking Anti-Tracker, Salty Tracker put out a video maybe. So Sisko is telling Eddington that he led the Maquis right into their graves. He says they died because you filled their heads. You filled their heads with a military victory dream when they needed a negotiated peace. He says they had the Cardassians right where they wanted. He said, yeah, right into the hands of the Dominion. He says. So a few leftovers are doing a pointless revenge against the Cardassians. He says, if you can't have victory, sometimes you can have revenge. He says, is that what you want? The man who brings on the worst war in Federation history? Eddington says, not what he hoped, but he can live with it. No further details. Okay. Thank you, Hector. Hopefully it's just, indigestion or something. The Klingons are being Klingons. They're headbutting each other. Martok is saying, you're barely making contact again. And then Nog is saying 65 decimals, loud but not loud enough, 5 more decimals, and they're legally disturbing the peace. And he's like, you're going to arrest General Martok for disturbing the peace? And he says, aren't you going to at least call for backup? Says Jake. And he says, no, didn't you hear your father? They're not going to respect me until he stands up to them. Jake says he thinks respect is overrated. That's it, 70 decimals, they're mine. And then Nog falls backwards on his chair, and the Klingons are laughing at him. He says he's fine, just tell him when everyone leaves. Because he's not going to get up until they do. Oh, poor Nog. John DeMarco says he can live with it. He can live with it. He wants Eddington to see something. Eddington says he'll pass. He says maybe it's nothing. It's hard to get an accurate sensor reading in the Badlands. But unless he's mistaken, 2 Jem'Hadar warships are headed his way. Yep, says Eddington. Those are Jem'Hadar warships. You've got a problem. Says we both do. They're coming closer. 1 AU away. 0.9. That's the distance between the Earth and the Sun. He's like, looks like you're going to get your wish to be blown to bits by the Jem'Hadar. He's like, I got faith in you, Captain. You'll get us out of this. He says, not me, Mr. Eddington. I don't know the Badlands. He takes the cuffs off Eddington. He's like, I'm going to go get a Ractagino. His throat's dry. It's Eddington's. Eddington's got to get him out of this. He's like, you're crazy. They're almost on top of us. And that's one thing you will say about their replicators. They sure know how to make Klingon coffee. And he says, oh, they should be in firing range. He's not going to get him to work. He's not going to take the helm, says Eddington. He's like, he's trying to see how serious his death wish really is. He's like, I'm going to bet that you're not going to sit back and let you start a war that will destroy the Alpha Quadrant. Okay, so I got a message from Deej. He's going in for testing, and he's asking, please don't say stuff on Facebook or anything at this point. Just hang on until he knows more. He doesn't want a million messages and people worrying. He's just going in for testing. So Eddington says when he left, when he joined the Maquis, he left some stuff on the station. He says as far as he knows, everything was put in storage. And he has an old Canadian coin. It's been in his family for over 200 years. Says probably in the locker in the assay office with the rest of his things. Eddington says he hopes so. He'd hate to think he lost it. Speaking of things he thought he lost, the Jem'Hadar. He's like, there's no way the Jem'Hadar could attract him. He says, dissipating the warp signature didn't work. So don't tell me we didn't have a plan B. He's like, you're not going to like it. Half an AU in closing. He's like, we're going to have to realign the impulse flow indicators. Says shut down the engines. He said, who said anything about shutting down the engines? But if you do that while the engines are engaged, Nah, it'll blow up in your face. He says, I mean, your face, Sisko. He's going to be piloting the ship. Even if the Jem'Hadar survive the blast, the shockwave will wipe out any trace. And he says, fine, but hold the ship steady. He'll do his best, says Eddington. So now Sisko's going to put his trust in Eddington. Bradley Briggs says he can live with it while Wesley almost gets killed for falling on some flowers. The computer is saying doing this is not recommended. He knows he's giving authorization Sisko to override. Safety's disengaged. Now the fun begins. No, we've got some fiber optic wires that in no way could blow up in your face. He says, damn it, keep the ship steady. He ran into a pocket of borax or something. Sisko's just pulling wires out of the wall. Are you still there? He's like, are you disappointed? He's like, he's just checking. He's hate to rush him, but things are going to get unpleasant if he doesn't finish soon. Sisko's aware. He's shaking, and he's like, it wasn't me. They're firing at us. And he's like, let her rip. And there they go. They're releasing the plasma. And ba-boom. Oh, Sisko's being thrown all around the Jeffries tube. And did you even know runabouts had Jeffries tubes? That seemed to work. No sign of the Jem'Hadar. Looks like we lost them, Captain. Captain? And computer, locate Captain Sisko. Internal sensors are offline. And Sisko comes up from behind him. He says, I told you to keep the ship steady. He's like, what a pleasant surprise. Now get us to the launch site, says Sisko. He got a bump on his head. Quite the bruise. A little bloody. So, Jake says, Nog, next time you know I have a girl over, just call before you come home. He says, we were just talking. He's like, that's a scurrilous lie. He's like, is that worse than a regular lie? He's like, listen, I know you never get past talking. Now who's being scurrilous? He doesn't believe this. They're loitering on the promenade in our spot. And he said, Jake, don't you get it? They know he's territorial about the spot. They're purposely doing it to insult Nog. Jake says, Nog, you're getting stranger as you're getting older. He says, stand back, Jake. This could get ugly. Nog is going over to them, to Martok. And he says, all right, it's time for you to move on. And he says, we will decide when it's time to move. Although he did look at him. Station regulation. Loitering on the promenade is prohibited. It is. Now either move or he'll have to place him under arrest. Martok says, you're either very brave or very stupid, Ferengi. And Nog says, probably a little of both. And Martok laughs. Indeed. Courage comes in all sizes. But don't tempt fate. Kutash. So they move along. And Jake comes over. He's like, I'm impressed. He's like, Klingons. You just have to know how to handle them. Now Nog is happy. He got the Klingons to move. He became everything he hated. All those times Odo made him and Jake move. John DeMarco says the Sisko is not amused. The sensors aren't detecting anything. He says that's a general idea. There's too much interference to detect anything. He's like, we'll never get a transport through all that static. Says we don't have to. There's a shuttle pad next to the launch site. So Sisko says, take us down. How far? They've got a few kilometers. The tunnels will take them most of the way. He's like, these are man-made tunnels. And Eddington says, I know, I helped dig them myself. Why didn't they just use the crystals? Oh, that's Tok'ra technology. I'm getting my sci-fi messed up. He's like, now where? He needs a minute to get his bearings. Orville Nation with a $3 super chat, super sticker, fist bump. Thank you, Orville Nation. Qapla. Hope you're doing well, PJ. Ah, the Jem'Hadar are already there. Shit. The Jem'Hadar were never supposed to find this place. Eddington says he didn't think they would. And he says, in this fog, they have as much chance of hitting each other. And he says, you'd never make it into Maquis with that type of attitude. So, he gives Eddington a phaser. And he's like, he doesn't know which one to aim at. And Sisko takes a pipe. He's like, I'll be the one holding the pipe. He's like attacking two Jem'Hadar soldiers with a pipe. And Eddington says it could be worse. Sisko says it could be worse. And Eddington says, you're right, it could be me holding the pipe. And that's right, Sisko says. And Eddington, to his credit, doesn't seem to shoot Sisko. He gets one Jem'Hadar. And now he has to it's very hard to tell who the second guy is to shoot. And now he shoots the second Jem'Hadar. And Sisko's going to ask him, how do you know who to shoot? He says, you have sharp eyes. He says, not really. I just saw who was knocked down first. And I shot the one still standing. And he says, let's drag these bodies into the well. And the Jem'Hadar will look for their friends instead of us. When would the Jem'Hadar ever care about looking for their dead comrades? He says, at any moment, this entire settlement is to be crawling with Jem'Hadar. And he's like, yeah, he's reasonably sure the launch site's this way. At least they picked up bigger weapons. Little Jem'Hadar weapons. And he says, we're close, says Eddington. Wait, says Sisko. There's a body. What happened, lassie? Did the Jem'Hadar fall down the well? Oh, he's a friend. There's more bodies. Eddington knows these people. Oh, no. Oh, my God. So many dead Maquis. This wasn't supposed to happen, says Eddington. The Cardassian Empire was falling into chaos. the Maquis was going to declare themselves an independent nation. Sisko says, listen to me. This is not the time. He says, it's over. It's not over. We still have to stop the missiles. He says, that's all you care about, the missiles? He says, it's too late to help these people. But if we don't stop the missiles, this will just be the beginning. Eddington says, I was their leader. I was responsible for them and I failed. I failed them all. Sisko says, maybe we all failed them. Maybe we could have prevented this from happening. It's going to take a long time and a lot of soul searching. Right now, we have a mission to complete. Eddington points the phaser at Sisko. He's like, I wish I knew for certain that killing you would make me feel better. But I suppose I can wait for another time. That's it, he's saying. He says, are you sure? He's like, you want to stand here and argue about it? Sisko shoots, and there was a bunch of Jem'Hadar that were cloaked. And he's like, oh, I forgot they could do that. And Sisko kills a bunch of Jem'Hadar. He says, no, wait, don't damage any equipment. Let him try something. He's trying to open the door, and he gets the door open. And oh, there's still people alive, including the woman who sent the message. She's like, Michael, I wondered when you'd get here. He said, I came as soon as I could. Captain Sisko, I'd like you to meet Rebecca Sullivan, my wife. What? You were married? He's like, okay, we're getting out of here. There's a runabout. We can still access the tunnels through the old well. Try not to lose each other in the fog. He's like, wait a minute. What about the missiles? Look around you, Ben. Does this look like a launch site? He wants the truth. Rebecca says, there never were any missiles. There was no retaliatory strike. A way to let Michael know we made it here. This was the fallback position. But he needed Sisko's help to evacuate people. He's like, what would you have done if I didn't force you to come with me? Eddington says, I would have volunteered. He says, you should be smiling. The Dominion counterstrike. It's not going to happen. Sisko is smiling. He says, yes, you're right. That is good news. But I still don't like being lied to. And he punches Eddington. Boom, right in the face. Eddington's like, I hope you're ready to finish what you started. And his wife says, we don't have time for this. And he says, we'll finish this later. And the wife is like, you heard what Michael said, stick together. Boom, just a punch in the face. He says, if I had known that Jem'Hadar was going to be here, I would have brought more people. Said the Jem'Hadar weren't supposed to be here. Nobody knew about this base but the Maquis. He says they landed 3 days ago. Eddington said he saw the bodies. He thought for a while. Rebecca says they didn't think they were going to make it. It's like, well, Eddington says we're not going to prison. Says right now we suggest on getting off the planet. We could worry about the rest later. He's like, they're not going to put us in prison, not this time. Sisko says, damn it, you never give up, Eddington. Says, never. And now the Jem'Hadar is shooting them from behind. Eddington says, go. Don't stop till you get to the runabout. He tells the wife to go. He kisses her. He says, no, I'll be right behind you. Just go. And Sisko's also firing at the Jem'Hadar. He's like, I didn't know you were married. Said they were married 2 weeks before he got captured. Not much of a honeymoon. Sisko says, I suggest we fall back now. Eddington says, for once, you're not going to get any argument for me. Eddington gets shot square in the chest, but it's one of those things that don't kill him immediately. He says, just get Rebecca and everybody to safety. He's going to just slow him down. He says, Eddington just points the phaser at Sisko and says, go. He says, you're one stubborn whatever. Eddington says he's not coming back from this. So Eddington just shoots at the Maquis, at the Jem'Hadar. Says, where's Eddington? She's not coming. He pulls the Rebecca down. We have to go. He's not coming. What do you mean he's not coming? We've got to go. Rebecca, you're going to be my wife now. Eddington's yelling orders to people who don't exist. Right flank, circle around to the left. This seems like a perfect time for a song. If only he could think of one. Does anyone know a good song? He yells. Something rousing. And Eddington gets up. Oh, he gets shot like 15 times. And he still has enough strength to say, Rebecca. Yeah, do not lie to the Sisko. You get punched in the face. So, Sisko's got all these Maquis colonists. What's he going to do with them? And Rebecca lost her husband. Eddington is dead. He goes out in a blaze of glory, like the title of the episode. Hey, Nog comes to Major Kira, and he found Kira's earring clip. He found it in a maintenance conduit. He says, you must have searched every maintenance conduit in the Central Core. And Martok gives cadet. He says cadet, and he says general. And Kira says, what was that all about? And Nog says respect. And Dax is saying, Eddington couldn't have picked a better way to go, at least from his point of view. He was a romantic. And what's more romantic than a glorious defense and death in defense of a lost cause? He died fighting for what he loved. Sisko says, I called him a traitor once. But in a way, he was the most loyal man he ever met. He was a Maquis right to the bitter end. So Dax says, is that what this is? The end of the Maquis? Sisko says, who knows? There could still be more of them. Hiding from Dominion, biding their time. Dax says, you almost sound hopeful. Sisko says, there's something attractive about a lost cause. Dax says, maybe you have more in common with Eddington than you like to admit. So Sisko says, maybe. Dax says, good night, Ben. Get some rest. Really? Sisko looks out the window like a little sign of respect to Eddington. We never really find out what happened to the wife. I assume they were turned over to Federation security. I mean, it seems like they should be under arrest. But who knows? Maybe because of the war. Well, there is no war yet. There's no war. But maybe because they were attacked by the Jem'Hadar, they're going to just allowed to go free. I don't know. What do you think should happen to them? If it was 6 months ago, they all would have been put under arrest. John DeMarco says the minstrel boy to the war has gone. In song. D.D. Myers is Bird of Prey. Thanks for the stream today. Thank you, D.D. Myers. Thank you all for coming and hanging out and watching another fabulous episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Next week, Empok Nor, the episode where They go, O'Brien and his engineering team, including Nog, go to, and Garrick, of course, go to the sister station of Deep Space Nine that for some reason was just completely abandoned by the Cardassians because they need spare parts for the station and they can't be replicated for some reason. So they literally have to go, luckily find an exact copy of the station and just take some extra pieces that's been luckily abandoned. But I liked Empok Nor when I first watched it. Kind of like a what if scenario, although I really can't, in my head canon, I cannot for the life of me figure out any reason that you would go through the expense of building such a space station and then completely abandon the space station, especially when we know the station could be moved. Maybe not easily, but it could certainly be moved if need be. Yeah. Josh Reed says, Bird of Prey, lol, if only Sisko remembered Voyager and knew about the Maquis crew. Yeah, I was going to say, well, they knew there were Maquis. Well, wait, do they know? I'm not sure at this point. Had Voyager made contact with the Federation yet? Because remember, when Voyager first left, they just assumed they were destroyed, and nobody knew the Maquis were with them. So it wasn't until I believe Doctor was sent through the gate, not the gates. Jesus, again, I'm thinking Stargate. It wasn't until the Doctor was sent through that communications network into the Prometheus, and he made a report to Starfleet onto what happened, and that there was so many Maquis crewmen that they knew the Maquis still existed. So honestly, at this point, which is season 5 of DS9, I don't know that had happened yet in Voyager history. It's close. Thomas, soon the war starts, indeed. It's like a horror episode. Josh reads Bird of Prey. Will the last 2 episodes of DS9, Season 7, Episode 25 and 26, be 1 stream or 2 streams? You know, that's a good question, Josh Street. Generally, it depends on if they were presented as a 1 or 2-parter when they initially aired. If they aired together like Way of the Warrior, then I do them as a single stream. If they aired on separate days, then I do them as individual streams. However, I don't remember offhand if they aired as 2 episodes or not. If they aired as 2 episodes on the same night, then they'll definitely be 1 stream. If they aired on separate weeks, it'll really depend on what the schedule is like come the end of season 7 as to whether we do them in 1 episode or not. And John DeMarco says they don't know about Voyager yet, and I would certainly trust John DeMarco's knowledge of the timeline. They made contact in Message in a Bottle, which would be the season after this. Okay, so there's no reason to think the Maquis are still alive in the Delta Quadrant. Josh Reed says, not the Federation, but the Romulan scientists by that traveling wormhole know about. Yeah, but he died, so we don't know that anybody ever got that message. And Thomas says it was a single episode. Then it will really depend as to what the how busy and what the plans are, what the schedule is like come those the last week. Because I'll tell you this, after we watch the final episode of DS9, the following week, I do plan on watching the DS9 documentary, What We Left Behind, just as a follow-up and whatnot. But we're a year out. We're at least a year out. 2 years out, I think. No, we're over a year out. Right? If each season has 25, 26 episodes, so we've got 2 seasons, all of season 6 and all of season 7, and a couple episodes of this. So we're like a year and 1 month, a year and 2 months out from the ending of DS9. So, October of 2022, God willing, might be the final. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see what's happening come then. That's assuming that nothing prevents DS9 Wednesdays at all between now and then. And that's a big gamble. I'm not even going to plan that far ahead. But we'll see. John and Mark, true, but we don't know if he told anyone before he died. It's true, but if he did, he certainly didn't tell anyone in the Federation, because if the Federation had known about Voyager, they would have told them about that. That, hey, we did get the message. Your Romulan friend did send the message. We did know about you. In fact, they could have prevented them from going on the trip to begin with. But anyway. Josh Reed says, as of right now, DS9, What We Left Behind, is free with ads. Yes, it is. And if anybody wants to watch it, you should. But if you don't, you want to wait, I do plan to watch it again. Thomas Bott says, that's still sooner than Babylon 5 with Life with Matthew. Most likely. Okay, guys. So once again, Deej is in the hospital getting some tests run. If you pray. If you send good vibes, send good vibes. But he asks you not to blow up his Facebook or leave him messages there. Just to yourselves, please, for now. Hopefully it's nothing big. And we just, obviously, we all stand with Deej. We hope he's okay. He is currently getting some tests run in the hospital. But he was okay enough to message me. So, Deej, if you hear this, get better soon, buddy. We're here for you. Let us know if you need anything. And we wish you the best. Josh Street says, Bird of Prey, the Romulans could only give the Federation Voyager news after they joined the war. No, they could have given the Federation news anytime they wanted. They didn't have to wait till they joined the war. They didn't have to. Nothing stopped them. It's not like they didn't have ways to communicate. But whatever. I honestly, in my head canon, that guy was not able to deliver his message, because if they did, we should have heard about it on Voyager in a later season, and we didn't. So I have to assume that message never made it. And for all we know, he was in a different timeline. For all we know, he wasn't even in the Prime timeline. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go now. I will be back tomorrow with some Call of Duty and open lines. And I will be around later. Qapla all, Bird out. Joshua says, it's your people, Bird of Prey. They don't trust anyone. The Romulans, indeed. I'm Klingon. More Klingon, though. John DeMarco says, have a good evening, everyone. Take care, all. Qapla. But wait, there is more. The video might be over, but there's more fun to be had. First, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel and have clicked that bell icon to get notifications of new videos in your YouTube feed. Share this video on social media to help this channel fight the algorithm that favors big media. Also check out www.birdoprey5.com for links to my other channels, various social media accounts, merch store, Dear Bop, affiliate links, and all your Bird of Prey 5 needs. At the main Bird of Prey 5 YouTube channel, you can find all sorts of live streams and unlisted videos, YouTube membership options, and a community section with polls and updates on the channel. On the secondary channel, Bird of Prey 5X, you can find overflow content that doesn't always make the main channel. Subscribe to both channels, please. Thanks for watching. Remember, I stream almost every day. This is Bird of Prey 5 saying goodbye, world. Until next time. P.S. Hail Sassy, hail Charlie, and of course, hail Kuroga.